Hey folks, Budget RC here. Today we've got a how-to video for you guys. I'm going to show you guys how to make some custom parts that you may need for your RC car. In my case, I need to make a new piece to mount this Traxxas front bumper to my son's circuit. In the past, I had this mounting piece right here that you can see. This is made out of a plastic called HDPE, better known as a cutting board. It's nice and hard, but the problem is it's also brittle. And you can see that right here, it broke right at the mounting point. So what I'm going to do is show a couple of different materials that you can use for various RC projects. I'm going to try them both, and we're going to see how they work. I ordered both of these on eBay, and I can provide the link below. I've got two sheets here and a little bit of grass. I've got a piece of what's called Kydex, which is the piece on top here, and a standard piece of ABS. They're both about 1/8 of an inch thick. Now the difference between the Kydex and the ABS is that the Kydex is a little bit stiffer, and the Kydex is also designed to be formed with heat, so that you can really get it to mold over different shapes if you need it to. For what I'm doing, I'm not going to need to do a whole lot of that, but I am going to need to bend it, and I will be using heat for that. You can also do that with ABS, although it's not really as forgiving when it comes to moving it around with heat. The ABS is a little bit more flexible, whereas the Kydex is stiffer. I think that the Kydex is the material that T-Bone uses for their bumpers. If it's not Kydex, it's a very similar material. So this should prove to be pretty sturdy, but I also want to see what the ABS will do. So what I'm going to do is cut some pieces that are the right width for this here, and then I'm going to start modifying it to make it fit. So we'll come back after we've made a little bit of progress. Okay, so we've got these pieces cut. I just cut a couple of rectangles out of the sheets. I've got the Kydex and the ABS. Now, when dealing with these really small pieces, you really can't flex them at all. They're just too small. So I think as long as neither of them ends up being brittle and cracking, I think from a strength perspective, either one of these is going to be more than enough strength for what I need. So the next step is going to be to drill some of the holes and start getting some of this shaped up. And then once I do that, I'm going to start applying some heat and trying to bend them. So I'll show real quickly what these look like after I get a couple holes drilled and get them shaped a little bit prior to bending. Okay. So now we've got a couple of holes drilled, and one thing I wanted to point out was how close some of these holes are to the edges here. There's really not room to add more material on the edge here because of where it fits on the truck. So I expect this to be the weak point. This certainly was with the original. You can see that that's why it broke there. So that's really going to be, I think, the deciding factor on how well these hold up. My guess is that the Kydex is going to hold up better than the ABS. To test that, I'm going to probably install the ABS first, and then see how long it lasts before switching to the Kydex. In any case, the next step is going to be to heat these and bend them a little bit so that I can kind of get this type of a profile out of it. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll come back. Okay, so now I've got the ABS piece in my vise, and what I'm going to do is use this heat gun and apply some heat right at the base here to get this hot so that I can bend this over a little bit to get to the angle I need. You may be able to do this with a hair dryer with the ABS. The ABS doesn't usually require a lot of heat. I don't think you'll be able to do that with the Kydex. And once we've got it bent, what we do is just hold it for a little while until it stays there. And then when we pull this out, it should be bent pretty well. So that looks like it worked pretty well. Now we'll try the same thing with the Kydex. Okay, so now the Kydex piece is in here. We're going to do the same thing. Alright, so this is taking a lot longer to cool off than the ABS did, and you can see that this is quite a bit more flexible. So now I think we've got the angle we want, as well as some marks from my pliers, but this isn't a showpiece. Alright, so now if I pull this out, Yep, we've got the angle we want. So between the two of them, we should be good to move to the next step. So now I'm going to test fit them to the vehicle. I do have to admit, I already test fitted and found that there was too much of an angle. So I put these on a flat bench, put a little bit more heat on here, and just flattened them a little bit. You can see there's less of an angle now. But now if we set it down in here, you can see that we should be in pretty good shape overall. It sits where it needs to over there, and it sits nice and flat here. So now I think it's just a matter of drilling the second set of holes and maybe trimming this up a little bit, and then we should be in pretty good shape. All right, so now I've got the holes drilled, and I also just smoothed off the top a little bit to help finish it off. Once we put this in here, it should just be a matter of screwing things back together, and everything should fit pretty well. So we're going to finish putting it together. We'll see how it worked out, and I'll make one last follow-up. All right, so now we've got everything screwed back together. You can see that we've got our new piece installed right here, and it seems to be doing a nice job of holding everything together. And as you can see, it's more rigid than the rest of the push bar. So hopefully that means that it'll hold up pretty well. But if not, we do have the one that I made out of Kydex, which I expect to be even more durable. So we're going to see how the ABS one holds up, and once it breaks, then we'll give the Kydex a try. Anyway, I hope you guys found this helpful and informative. Even though you may not be doing a project exactly like this, this kind of just gives you a general idea of how to work with this material, and hopefully it'll give you guys some ideas for some of your own customization projects. I'd love to see what some of your projects are. Please leave me a link in your comments, or just give me a description of the type of things you're working on. Until then, we'll talk to you later. Thanks. This is Budget RC.